Hello everyone, Baron is back, and in this video I'm going to be discussing why Mean Girls 2024 is a better movie than Dune 2. Okay, so first off, wait, what? Yeah! This looks fun. It's a medium, not a genre. It's not part-time, it's a lifetime. What happened? Oh my gosh, it's Vladimir from the hit France/China movie Spices. Oh my gosh, ever since I reviewed that movie, I've been looking forward to seeing you in person. Oh my gosh, usually when someone crashes into someone else's house, it's for some useful information and not just as a threat, so what would you like to tell me?
Well, ever since you reviewed that movie, I was interested in seeing other Chinese movies getting acknowledged by American.
Yes, I am American.
And I decided to give you a few options, so look through these.
Okay, great. This one looks fun, but maybe a little lame at some points. This one is just really creepy. Ooh, this one looks cute, incredible, and I think, how does this one work? Oh, who am I kidding? It probably works great because you can read my mind with how cool you are, I guess. Hey, well, I guess maybe we can hang out sometimes after this? Oh. Well, I mean, you guys are still here, so I guess I can get something out of reviewing the characters and stuff for this series like I always do. So, enjoy. So, starting off with the main character, we have Xiao Yi. He is a little blue ant with one goal in mind: saving his captured brother. He arguably has the most development out of the main cast of characters in the show, and he basically goes from a small little, like, kind of pathetic guy who just wants to impress people with his inventions, to being a lot braver and a lot more self-reliant, because he did quite a bit of times like wonder, oh my gosh, am I able to do this without my brother's help? But he grows that confidence. It helps him and the other characters I'm going to talk about in the future, and I feel like it does a good job. Like, the whole brothers system is like the main thing going on in this show. It's like the main goal. It makes sure you never forget that's what they're aspiring to do. And I feel like it's a simple plot, but I feel like the story actually has a lot of stuff when it comes to the execution, which makes that element pretty effective, if I do say so myself. I'll go into some of the other stuff about the show later, but plot-wise, the show is pretty solid, and this character is a pretty solid main character, and he also, all of his all the cool stuff he does with his glove, as I just mentioned, is pretty cool. He can use its action of firing in order to do quite a bit of stuff, which can help out the situation. So with that being said about his really powerful glove, we're going to move on to the next character. So this would be a good time to mention that I'm going to be talking about the characters in order of which they go along with Yi's side, which they become a big part of his crew. Anyway, with that being said, Rhino is who I'm going to be talking about next. He's the big macho guy of the group who's also a little stupid, but I feel like this character does something which makes him stand out from the other ones, in which he sort of has a master-pupil context, feeling that he needs to be loyal to Yi after he rescues him from who was previously noting himself as his master. And I feel like this character, he also tries to be pretty funny at moments. It doesn't always work, but there are moments which he can surprisingly be a little charming and in its funny nature and can even like succeed in like telling some effective jokes. But I think this would be a good time to talk about the action in the show. The action is actually pretty engaging. Like this show doesn't really have like the big like serious actiony style, which I'm gonna be talking about later. But when it comes to like how things move, how they like react to different things, the impact of some movements, I feel like this show just does its job and is pretty successful at doing that. And I feel like because there's a lot of action that surrounds Rhino, I feel like it does a good job of like cementing how strong he is, especially when you first like meet him in the show. He really does feel like he's a big threat, even if he doesn't always act like one. So yeah, that was Rhino, and now you know. Let's move on. So next we have BB, the B girl. She's the main girl of the group. She likes stuff which girls are usually associated with, like boy bands and some clothing. You can tell by her design just how fashion-centric she is. I think she goes through a pretty effective arc, just like being less greedy, learning to like improve on greediness. Like she was supposed to be a princess, a queen, and she doesn't want to live that lifestyle. She wants to be a warrior, and I think she does a good job at I mean, not like super original with all these concepts, but I think she does a fine job at like handling them well. It isn't like obnoxious or anything. She's pretty okay. She's probably like might be the character who like interests me the least, maybe, but she also does have some like cool, useful elements to the team, which makes it clear like why she would join it, like with being able to fly and the tracking. Even though he actually doesn't want to like have anyone join his team yet, so it makes it a bit more interesting just seeing her like trying. What I'm saying is that she does a good job of like being a character, I guess. I guess I'll also talk about the style, the like visuals in the show now, and I really like them. Actually, this show's environment use a lot of analogous colors, which not only look great, but can also provide a good amount of visual storytelling. Like, you can just take a look at a background and you can tell what you're supposed to feel when you're in that environment. Along with the character designs being cute and appealing, and also silhouette identifiable, which is something I really like in these shows. Also color and viable. Like, there's a lot of different variations with the colors that make all the different characters stand out from each other and like the other characters around them. And also, the show does a really cool thing where if people are more in the background, it takes away their outlines and converts them into like shapes and different colors and shapes. So I feel like the show just works well on that front, and I just feel like BB is a pretty decent character. So next up we have Yaya. He is the typical cute little guy who doesn't really speak, but you can still tell that they're a motive character that you see in groups like this. And I mean, he does his job. He looks adorable. He shows his expressions, like not through words, but with like grunts and body language and facial expressions. So there isn't really too much to say about him. He doesn't really lend himself to too many plots, so he usually just is like just standing aside while the other characters have like missions and stuff. I mean, of course he contributes, but he just doesn't really offer like too much on his own, which isn't really expected out of these types of characters, so it isn't really something I can like complain about. But I mean, I feel like this would be a good opportunity to like talk about the emotions. I feel like this show does a decent job of like giving everyone enough ambition, enough influence and motive in order to make whenever like something bad's happening or something good's happening and everyone's like celebrating or feeling sad, it makes it feel like it's earned and not just used as first emotion, which of course is very important. And I mean, I just feel like the show does have moments where it can be pretty engaging emotionally, which is pretty great for a show which of course is trying to do with emotion. I'll sort of talk more about how this can play into how this can be effective in the show a little later, but right now this show can be like I wouldn't really call it like a magnum opus of emotional tear-jerking and breaking apart. I mean, this show it can be pretty engaging at points, and I can't really argue about anything else. So last on the list of crew is Mantis. I would have been disappointed if he turned out to be a lousy character considering how much build-up he has. Like, he showed up in the first episode, and when does he become part of the crew? The fifth one. But anyway, he is probably my favorite character in the show. I love his design. I love his trope where he's basically like a secluded, combat-heavy, like, opponent who's not the best for like street smarts, but and it can actually be pretty adorable in those stages, and it doesn't really feel like too forced to believe that he would have trouble with those aspects, so it just comes off as, like I said, charming. And he also is abled, and I appreciate like more abled like context within animation. And I feel like he does a good job at being that like type of character where you don't always think about how he doesn't have like one of his arms. Speaking of like the whole not having one of the arms thing, I think this would be a good time to talk about the tone of the show. I feel like I can swap between being pretty like goofy to actually being genuinely serious. Like, once again, it's not like one of the most serious shows you'll encounter when it is serious, but like the whole thing about Mantis losing his hand was treated pretty earnestly, and it does make him like more admirable of a character after you like figure out what happened then. I also just have to highlight my favorite episode of the show easily. It's a two-parter called Wrapped Up in Your Own World, and if there's any like episodes that you should check out from the show, it would have to be those two. Because not only does it look great visually, but it also does a good job of like giving like the individual characters like learning more about them. It's sort of like Mugen Train, like light maybe, but I think it's pretty good. And what can I say, this show is just pretty good with tone, and I mean, not the best, but it can definitely be effective. So some last stuff I want to discuss, just some small stuff, is that the side characters can be pretty hit or miss. One of the big highlights of them would have to be Yi's brother. He really is well established as like this big person who Yi looks up to, and even the twist with him is actually pretty engaging, just thinking about like all the stuff that happened. And I also feel like another thing I should highlight about the show is that it can be pretty preachy. Not gonna go into like the finale, but it did sort of make me laugh with like what was revealed to be like the purple stuff, so like purple stuff which is like sort of ruining the world and that. And I didn't mention it until now because it's sort of like a side like mission just to get rid of that stuff, and like we learn about like where it comes from, and we don't like fully stop it, it's just a cliffhanger. And I feel like what it's being revealed as is just a little silly, but I can see where they're going with. Anyway, with that being said, I'm glad you guys enjoyed. I'm glad that Vladimir from Spicy's could come over and show off his cool spyness. And with that being said, you'll be catching this artist later. Hey brother, there's an endless road to rediscover. Hey sister, know the water's sweet but blood is thicker. Oh, when the sky comes falling down for you, there's none in this world I wouldn't do.